There is a new Who is Buying This issue with a robotic arm that sits on the side of your bed, which is kind of a lamp, but it also has pinchers to kill you. Make your bed. Don't know if this is the AI form factor I'm ready for yet. It's like being under a crab that's on its back, and I just don't like it. But it's also the future, so we're going to cover it. Mr. Personality himself is hopped on his own social network to advertise his own interests to us, and Mark Zuckerberg has a lot to say about the future of AI and his company's place in it, so we're going to go over that. Breaking news, Emily Janine Ferret has decided to go outside, lay on the grass, touch the earth after realizing the AI rabbits on a trampoline video that went viral. Fake. So you remember a few months ago when I covered robots playing ping pong? Well, just checked in on them and they're still playing and they're getting better and better and better. Serve by serve by serve. And yeah, this is DeepMind's headquarters. It's getting scary good. The Chinese company Tencent has created Hunyuan World 1.0. And this is the world's first open source cutting edge model that can generate entirely active 3D worlds from a single sentence or image. There's a new brain-inspired AI architecture that delivers 100 times faster reasoning than traditional LLMs. AI referrals to the top websites are up 357% year over year. That is 1.13 billion. Instinctively, I want to say searches, but what I mean is prompt results. The OG of the AI space, 2-minute papers, just called this model something that can deliver God mode level results. We'll have to dive into it, see what he's talking about. Business Insider has done a deep dive into how exactly Anthropic got so good at coding. A year later, the startup launched an AI model that blew the coding world away, and everyone in Silicon Valley is still trying to catch up. Why? Let's look into it. Complex video object segmentation is not standing still. New updates, even more impressive. Cybersecurity expert Terrence Tao has a new red team, blue team argument as an analogy for how we should think about the entire world. I'm down with it. Stephanie Shen wants to talk about when you have a stream of thoughts and consciousness, what exactly is missing in that equation? Pointing out that in evolution, the stream of consciousness enables survival through flexibility and foresight. What does a machine need that for? Then we're going to look at some of Steve Frank's opinion on why the danger that we're about to face is not artificial intelligence. It's just, like always, us again. Every technology feels like it's a people problem. At the end of the day, it just does, over and over again. So weird. Hi everybody, quick pause to introduce you to SKYWORK Super Agents. This is the AI workplace suite that's revolutionizing how business is done. With a single command, Skyworks can generate anything pretty much. You want to document a spreadsheet, a slide, a web page, even a podcast, which is like my specialty. It does it for you. And for me, somebody who needs to try to search around and when possible do deep research on all the new AI news that is coming out, this tool can save me 90% of the time. For example, let me show you something cool. I asked SKYWORK for a deep dive analysis of NVIDIA's valuation as of last week. I got to sit back and work while it delivered me an entire slide deck, complete with charts and sources, and it was done for the deep research part at way cheaper than normal tools. 40% the usual cost even. That's complete with charts, source citations, and it's even 40% less cost than normal deep research. And every statistic links back to the original research if you want to check anything. And one of the most fascinating things in this tool that I haven't seen anywhere else is this thing called a clarification card. It allows you to refine your prompt until it's perfect. So whether you're a business analyst, a student, an engineer, an entrepreneur, SKYWORK Super Agent is an amazing tool to help you work smarter and not harder. So I want to give a big thank you for sponsoring this content and helping me get better information out to the audience. So thank you so much. And we'll start with this robotic lamp. I'm not sure. This seems like a cartoon come to life. Like it seems like how Rick and Morty would portray something like this. And it's not. I don't know. The whole night that you're sleeping, you want hands that can just grab you like that. I mean, yes, in theory, these hands can evolve and they can do firmware and software updates to the point where maybe they could, I don't know, roll you over if you're having a breathing problem or notify people or, I don't know, hold your mouth open or something. But like, there's so many more ways I could see it going wrong. Is it pretty? Is it interesting? You know, there's a robot that does massages now too, and I'm sort of in that same mode, but at least on the massage table, it's like constrained for that hour massage. All night, I just wouldn't sleep well. It just stressed me out. That's just me. Oh, next thing I was going to talk about was Zuck's big announcement, but I saw it through Instagram, but it looks like he's trending here on Twitter/X also. It's unusual. I don't really see Zuckerberg trending so much. Usually this is the Elon platform, you know? Not every hero wears a cape. Zuck and Meta just saved the stock market. That's one interpretation. Zuck is a phenomenon. Why is everything so good today about him? I mean, I guess I don't need to exactly be a hater, but there was so many good comments. Everyone's just like, man, you're going to save it. You're the freedom that we need. And thank God someone in Silicon Valley cares about the regular person. I hope that's so true. His doomsday fortress in Hawaii has sniper towers? I don't know. But let's just talk about what he said before I go down that rabbit hole. And here it is. So for quick context, he has spent billions and billions of dollars acquiring talent. It seems like they made some mistakes with the llama model. It seems like their head of AI just wasn't the right fit to just, pilot this entire ship. Zuck's taking a serious interest in making sure that they don't lose this battle. And here is what he had to say today.
But there's this big open question about what we should direct superintelligence towards. A lot has been written about the scientific and economic advances that AI can bring, and I'm really optimistic about this. But I think an even more meaningful impact in our lives is going to come from everyone having a personal superintelligence that helps you achieve your goals, create what you want to see in the world, be a better friend, and grow to become the person that you aspire to be.
What do you think? Scripted? Maybe a little scripted. But the audience loves it. Finally, a CEO that cares for the people, not just about replacing us with robots. God bless you. Well, let's go, Zuck. Zuck Avengers assemble. I love bro. Great vision, sir. One thing I definitely agree on him with is this line here. This is a decisive period for determining the path this technology will take. That's something I wish a lot more people thought about. I mean, you can be happy with it or upset about it, and that's a better position than just not even knowing or thinking, like just not understanding that, this thing's going to amplify on itself, and it kind of depends on which direction we're going if it's going to be amplified that much. Like, for example, if you're a millionth of a degree off and you shoot straight and you're trying to get to Alpha Centauri, you can miss it. You have to be so precise because that tiniest little angle gets amplified by the light years it takes to get there. And there's something kind of like that. We have to be so clear and aligned that we're building all the systems to self-correct towards something that we all want. But also for now, remember that there is real sun and grass out there. I mean, not for me right now because it's, midnight when I film. I'm sort of one of those late night people. However, during the afternoon, this looks lovely. About 170,000 people like this. Woman feeling tricked by AI decides to just go outside, sit on the grass. Might be one of the most amazing things in life right now that you can enjoy and experience. Just grass. Maybe barefoot, let it hit your feet. It's a good feeling, good summer day. Me after being fooled by the AI bunnies jumping on a trampoline. It wasn't real, my heart is shattered. Looks like it got all of us. Oh, a cake story fell for the cat riding on a coyote's back and then dropped off in the front door. No, I thought it was real and saved it on my camera roll because I thought it was so cute. Saved me a spot on the grass. That was a video, by the way. I did not know it was AI also. So, yeah. Of course, one activity that you can do with other humans is play table tennis. And, you don't have to know that you're better than a machine because you're not. But it could still be fun. DeepMind's robotics team is still at it, pushing the boundaries of robot learning because for a long time they have had robots teaching themselves to play ping pong matches. And this is one of the best ways to teach a computer to be superhuman. It's how the chess games work. A lot of the Atari games that they sort of pioneered worked. So instead of relying heavily on human programming or predefined reward systems, they created an environment where the robot can play and improve autonomously, mimicking the learn by competition model that was used in AlphaGo. The robotic tennis players start with cooperative rallies and they gradually move into competitive play, both with other robots and humans, and the team experimented with using vision language models like Gemini as robotic coaches even. That was an interesting twist, helping the robots refine their strategies without any traditional programming. So yeah, what you're looking at there isn't just the robots going back and forth. It even has a robotic coach, a visual model that's watching saying, hey, here's what I think you should do next time. So it's both a competitive system learning how to play and it's a coaching system. And it makes me wonder, what if there were coaches watching the coach to make sure the coach gives better feedback and all sorts of agentic tools? This thing is just going to get so good at ping pong. It'll be like in that movie iRobot where they can just like the robots jump on walls and they climb real fast and they spring like Spider-Man. Why not? They'll be able to learn that, I think. This is intelligence we're inventing. I mean, as long as the robot has the actuators, the articulation, the actual hardware doesn't fall apart when moving at superhuman speeds or superhuman strengths, why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it? All right, let's talk about this new Chinese model, Hunyuan World. I hope I'm saying that right. Hunyuan World? I'll let the demo video speak for itself. All right, so what you're looking at here is Hunyuan World 1.0. Probably butchered that, but it's a Chinese company, Tencent. You've probably heard of them by now. One of the top tech companies in China, and it is a newly released and very notable open source framework that is designed to create immersive, interactive 3D worlds directly from text. All right, so this is kind of a, I always think of VO3 as sort of the one with the crown right now that people need to compete with, but it is like that, and it is open source, and it bridges the gap between traditional video-based and 3D-based generation methods by combining panoramic imagery with semantic 3D mesh reconstruction. So that seems like it might be kind of new, or maybe it's part of the secret sauce over at Google. I don't know, but this seems like a lot of really interesting things put together in a pretty big model. But it allows users to generate explorable virtual environments with high visual and geometric fidelity. It supports mesh exports, object-level interactivity, and seamless integration into graphical pipelines. I mean, if you just want to make a huge panoramic image with a scene behind it to actually construct the visuals from, this is an open source tool that could do that. All right, next up, let's talk about a new brain architecture, something I wish I could do. I mean, I guess when I go to sleep at night and dream, I'm slightly changing my brain. No, that's more like tuning. I'm not really changing my architecture. That came with my genes. I still got that old, what's it called, the limbic system, the lizard brain over there, just like, where's my food? But this new AI architecture delivers 100 times faster reasoning than LMs with just 1,000 training examples. So what is it? It's coming out of a Singapore-based AI startup called Sapient Intelligence. And the heart of the architecture is called the Hierarchical Reasoning Model, the HRM. And it is inspired by how human brains utilize distinct systems for slow, deliberate planning and fast, intuitive computation. So these two HRM modules, one that does the slow, abstract thinking, the other fast, detailed work, they're stuck together in a pretty unique feedback loop where the system itself allows the HRM to solve challenging problems like something like Sudoku or a maze puzzle with near perfect accuracy. And that's sometimes just training on 1,000 examples or less. So remember, it's not chain of thought, because what's different is a chain of thought will try to map everything out, but it's going to be very verbose. It's going to be step-by-step reasoning. This HRM system, it operates mostly in its own latent space. We're not finishing a thought, laying out a plan, and then looking at the plan. It's all kind of happening inside the latent space, inside the space where we're making all the changes through backpropagation to how the system is learning. Makes it faster, more efficient. And it seems to me like this is a little bit closer to what we do. There's something about the way I see myself learning and the way I exist in the world that seems like I'll have a thought and I'll watch something, and then after a while I might put the thought and the thing that I watched together to have a new idea, and then that idea can kind of percolate in my head and I can keep checking it to say, here's my first thought, but it's not right, and here's another iteration, and like that one's not right, but maybe with this thought added to it, there's something like that going on when I'm coming up with ideas that I eventually find to be useful. But either way, it's a huge leap towards efficient, low latency AI that can operate effectively, even in a data scarce or time critical environment. So here's an example of how HRM reasons over a maze problem across different compute cycles. And you can see in some of the ARC tests with less training examples than most of the other competitors were using, it was doing better. All right, so something I have been thinking about recently, because I have been linking a lot out of ChatGPT, especially even shopping. I say, go find me some links on Amazon to like a statue of an owl or something that I might want in the background. I'm doing that all the time. And I feel like for a long time, I've done more searching and linking through large language models, but recently it's really gone up, and I'm not the only one. So here's some real stats. Turns out AI referrals to top websites, so I'm guessing that's people linking to anything from Reddit to Facebook to Instagram, is up 357% year over year. That's 1.13 billion links out. And of course, still, that's not even close to how many Google searches there were. So Google still got a decent lead, 191 billion referrals. But also keep in mind that when you search Google, you only get links. You can often go to ChatGPT, ask a question, get your answer, and you're done. You don't always need to link out into the internet. In the past, that would make sense. I would go to links and then see if somebody else had that answer for me or try to piece it together. It just wasn't as convenient, but it resulted in many more advertisements and many more links. So I don't think we can compare apples to apples here, but that's a lot of growth for large language models. In a survey of 900 US Google users, 18%, so some 69,000 searches, showed AI overviews, which led users to clicking links 8% of the time. When there was no AI summary, users clicked links nearly twice as much, 15% of the time. And here's a little surprising fact that caught me off guard. Across other domains, the number one site AI referrals for each category included YouTube, 31.2 million, and then all the way down to ResearchGate, Zillow, Wikipedia, some other stuff that you'd recognize, but I was like, wow, YouTube way up there? That's awesome. Maybe because of the text transcripts that go along with all of these videos, it has some incredible source of data to reference, but I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, let's head on over to the YouTube channel, 2 Minute Papers. I mean, Carlos Zajuna is the guy who's been doing this way before Matt Wolf, before Matt Provid, before AI Advantage, before me, definitely. And he was looking at how graphics and technology and even the earliest of AI actually play out. And some of his stuff was really what got me into this. So I just haven't really been back for a minute now. And he always did such good stuff with graphics, because I think that's where his scientific research specialties were. But this video that came out this week with Genesis, it's amazing. So Genesis is a universal physics engine that's kind of like this God mode sandbox that can test out any type of physical interaction, fluids to light to soft bodies. And it does it all in a single unified system. It does it with incredible speed and versatility, and it lets researchers simulate vast numbers of worlds, and robots can now learn within these worlds. But the best part is, and a reason I wanted to bring it up is because it's something he's really passionate about, and that's making a tool like this that other people in the community actually use. This Genesis tool, completely free. So whether you're training AI or just fascinated by physics, this is something you should just know exists. Genesis can run up to 244 million frame per second in benchmark tests. Yeah, I said that right, 244 million frames per second in benchmark tests. You can just see the world so fast at that speed and learn such detail. It also means that AI, in theory, an AI agent can potentially train for 30,000 years in terms of the experience that it's generated in just one real hour, like 1 human hour at that frame rate. It's just crazy. That's a revolutionary leap in AI development for robotics, for virtualization, and it shows how these virtual training systems can massively accelerate real world systems in the very near future. Like it's doing Gundam style. Oh, I mean, look at some of these soccer players from not so great. They can barely move around, and then You just simulate 10 years of play, and now they're running around the soccer field, totally looking like real people doing it. Here's 1 week of training on all these little ninja guys, and they just all fall right over. Then all of a sudden, what's up? It's time for battling. And they're walking around, they're holding their swords. It's crazy. All right, let's talk about this Business Insider paper, how Anthropic got so good at coding. I do remember, 7 or 8 months ago, it seemed like everything that was online that was building vibe coding was all using Anthropic's models. I remember everybody just, oh my gosh, Claude is so good. Sonnet 3.5 especially. And then recently there's been things like Codex that have come out, and I think the Gemini models have got some pretty interesting things to say. Is it Juliet, I think is called, their model that's doing it? Jewel, I think, or just Jules, I think. And ever since then, you can see everybody scrambling. GitHub's Copilot, Cursor, the Meta model, they all, are scrambling, to be honest. And instead of revealing their secret sauce in a research paper, Anthropic has kept things close to the heart. People have not completely picked up on it yet, and while continuing to improve its models through a mix of trial and error, feedback from other AIs, not just humans, and sophisticated memory tools that help its models follow long projects, it's been able to use APIs in a way that is closer to human developers than anyone else. Most people think it has something to do with reinforcement learning. There's just a big push to do that. It's one of the reasons why Elon Musk's Grok has gotten so good, is he really had the compute to do feedback and just did a whole bunch of it, like to a scale nobody's ever done before. And it does seem like it got to the top of the leaderboard in a lot of categories. And when you're using another artificial intelligence to critique and improve the responses that one AI is giving as sort of a parent-child relationship, then it gets a lot better. I mean, it's kind of like those ping pong robots that we were just talking about, with a coach watching over and saying, hey, this could be better. And that might give Claude a self-improving edge that's helped it dominate the AI coding game so far. But we'll see if they can keep that up. Business Insider says, a few years ago, Anthropic would have published a long research paper detailing the data, techniques, and the architecture that it used to get Sonnet 3.5 to be a coding expert. But nowadays, the competition is so fierce that all AI labs keep their AI sauce super secret. Man, imagine if Google would have kept the Transformer secret. If they had not published Attention Is All You Need, all of OpenAI probably wouldn't be here. And that's such a different world when everybody's open sourcing everything. All right, let's kick it up a notch and talk about some video segmentation AI. So this paper is introducing a new system called SEC, which is a framework for video object segmentation. Tackles the limitations of some of the existing models, which often struggle with complex scenes, visual variations. And unlike traditional methods that rely heavily on appearance matching, this system actually uses high-level concept-based object representations that evolve across video frames. Very cool idea. It's learning how forms can mesh together from different angles, and then adding that to the segments that it's finding, helping it keep more consistent lines around whatever you're trying to focus on. In fact, at some points, it's so effective, the authors had to actually even come up with a new benchmark. So they have the SEC VOS benchmarking system because they had tricky scenarios that were designed to push the model beyond surface level recognition, and there wasn't good tests for it. But the breakthrough insight was a concept called construction through LVLM, which essentially gives the model a more human-like way of understanding and tracking objects across time, and it demonstrates the power of blending semantic reasoning with visual perception. I mean, it's doing a pretty good job hanging on to this Lego, even though it's evolving in a random sort of frame rate way, where the Lego's not truly a consistent object moving over time. It's making jumps based on the frames. Yeah, pretty impressive. Let's see here if it can hang on to Cap's shield or not. Yeah, it seems to really know, and it keeps the arm behind it when it's supposed to be and in front when it's supposed to be. All right, how about the ball? This could be a very important use case. I could see tons of sports using a system like this just to help track the ball for the audience. Yeah, every single frame seems like it's accurately staying to it, even when it bounces off right there. Wow. All right, let's talk about Terence Tao. This is the mathematician Terence Tao. He wrote a really interesting piece on on Mastodon, and it's basically an analogy, and one that I like too. So it's comparing cybersecurity terms. So you might have heard of like blue team and red team. You know, there's a builder, the blue team, and there's sort of the tester, the evaluator, the red team. And it's a structure that's generic enough you can apply it to all sorts of machine learning things, software development things, mathematics things, and you can apply it to what it's good at, right? So blue team might create code, for example, or it might propose a mathematical idea. The red team will critique it, and it will say, is there a problem with the code, or why this mathematical idea wouldn't work in this situation? It's like testing, formal proof checking, stuff like that. And Tao is pointing out that effective systems depend equally on both sides. While blue teams create, red teams help identify weaknesses. And like a chicken or an egg, you need one egg, one chicken, one egg, one chicken. You shouldn't get too many chickens for one egg, right? And he argues that current AI tools, which are often unreliable, might be better suited only for red teaming roles like reviewing and critiquing work rather than generation. So obviously we have a lot of generative tools. You can generate videos and then you can also critique the videos. But he's saying let the humans do that and then let the team, the red team, critique us. And that'll be a safer way to progress through one of potentially the most dangerous parts in history where humans try to harness the actual understanding of intelligence itself. So if we keep inventing things, we use AI for new tools, and then an AI itself acting as a red teamer says, hey, have you thought about when this like pessimistic point of view, like you can build this, but hey, don't forget someone could use it as a bad actor, or maybe someone might put it on a weapon or something like that. And it's constantly letting us build and live up to the greatest vision that we have, but it's constantly letting us know that there are knock-on effects, and it can see potentially more of them, faster of them, it can rank them, so we can stay in control, idealistic, optimistic, moving towards something, and it will constantly be telling us, hey, just to put this in perspective, there's some scrutiny here that I need to tell you about, and that might be the right kind of balance for this symbiotic relationship we're going to have. I don't know, food for thought. What do you think? Do you like the red team, blue team thing, or you feel like it doesn't really fit? Next up, let's talk about Stephanie Shin and her idea about stream of thought and consciousness and what might be missing. Okay, so first off, let's kind of define some things here. So can a thought be subconscious? And we're going to argue yes. Plenty of evidence has confirmed that we have thoughts both within and outside of our consciousness. So where does it pop up from? Plato thinks it comes from another perfect realm. Descartes reasons that it comes from God. Modern science suggests that a thought may originate from our subconscious. And where does that come from? Well, it could be something like the priming effect. It could be the environment that we exist in, the things that we've seen, the world that we're in that actually primes us to think certain ways, and that's where it comes from. And if you have time to read through this, I really recommend it. Blindsight is another really interesting way to think about this. There are plenty of ways people know things without being able to describe them. There's an unconscious awareness to them. Of course, the split brain patient, sometimes I feel like I've worked this to death, but when you have a person who doesn't have connection between the left and right hemispheres, the different eyes talk to different parts of the brain which don't communicate to each other. So here's what's wild, and this is a very clever experiment. If somebody if they're a split brain patient, you can flash a word, for example, bell, to just the left visual field only. So you cover the other eye and you put the word on a piece of paper and they read it. And that image will only be processed by the right hemisphere because the eyes cross over. Just like the way they're connected is sort of crosswise. But that means the left hemisphere doesn't see that word, and that's the side that's responsible for language. So the left hemisphere of the split brain patient did not receive the communication from the right hemisphere. So when the subject was asked what word he was presented, he said, I didn't see anything. So he saw something, and it's in that side of the hemisphere, but the part that talks doesn't know what to say. So it will say, I didn't see anything. But this part of the brain, when it takes action, it can take action. Like there's two people inside of his head now almost. And that's what makes me think so much of reality is confabulated. But when asked to point to the word with his left hand, controlled by the right hemisphere, he correctly selected bell. The right hemisphere perceived an object and recognized it, but the left hand was unaware of what the right hand knew. Anyways, there's plenty more examples in here, but this is an amazing read. I kind of feel like you should just listen, just read it. Just read it and let your mind just get blown away. Next up, let's talk to Stephen Frank. Hear his thoughts. The danger isn't artificial intelligence, it's us. Okay, so the interesting insight here is not just the same old story that people will take powerful tools and use that to secure their own wealth and power and potentially suppress people. So you'd think this is just an article about how the elite, the Zuckerbergs and the Musks or whatever, will have super power and collect all the money and then use it to their advantage. And that's just this tiny part of the story. The other part is the danger is in what we're asking it to do, how it thinks, and what will probably emerge on its own when prompted that way. And that's partially related to what people are choosing to do with it. So imagine something like a planning loop, something where AI is thinking so far ahead and it's going to continually be trying to take steps towards some goal. And that could be to make more money. It could be to make the site more secure. It could be to do all sorts of things. But the threat of AI becoming dangerously autonomous doesn't really require any sort of sentience. It doesn't even require it to specifically go and try to stop or hurt people or say, like, make money at any cost. Don't let anybody shut you down. Don't let anybody tell you what to do. It can just emerge on its own, simply from humans prompting powerful, guardrailed models to simulate goals like survival. And then everything else, kind of like nature itself did, can be assumed to be figured out and figured out to a level we couldn't understand. So in essence, we don't need to fear AI becoming like Frankenstein's monster on its own. We just need to be aware that if one human is willing to ask it to be that way, it might become that way. Patreon.com/Dylan Curious, or hit that join button right here on YouTube. If you wouldn't mind jumping into the comments, let people know your thoughts. I read through them. I like to reply when possible, and I just love the idea of you and me and the rest of this community all just trying to figure this out, having a voice, thinking about it, sharing it with our friends, and I will see you in the next video.